Hey you, it's Shelby from Little Coffee Fox. Today I want to share with you my 2019 bullet journal flip through. I want to kind of show you what I made this year, what worked, what didn't work, what I struggled with, and generally just look at how my 2019 bullet journal took shape. Let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, of course, I have to go through my New Year's setup at the beginning of 2019. And my very first page is this gorgeous one that I love, except for the fact that it's way, way off center. So just let this be a reminder that if this kind of thing bothers you, like me, then use a pencil first to figure out where the placement's going to be before you just start winging it. All right, so the next page is my 2018 in review spread. It's basically just an evaluation of 2018, so I think about it and sort of take my experiences before I move on. And by the way, like all of my pages from my 2019 bullet journal setup have their own individual posts, and I will link them all down below in the description. This is my level 10 life for 2019. I like to do these between every 6 months or a year, just so I can kind of tap in and see how my life is doing and how satisfied I am and what I can work on in the future. So this was mine at the beginning of 2019. I definitely need to do another one of these soon. I love this spread so much. 2018 was a great year, but I feel like I sort of painted myself in these little boxes and didn't really allow myself to try new and maybe sometimes scary things. So I really wanted to make that a focus in 2019. And I'd say that I did a pretty good job of doing new and interesting stuff this year. So I would say I'm pretty satisfied with living up to my New Year mantra. Plus, I really like this tree. I think that turned out so much cooler than I could have imagined. My 2019 master plan. So a lot of this I did not do this year, but several things I did do. So it's kind of cool to look back and see what my big goals were and what I was really trying to work towards in 2019 at the beginning of the year and sort of comparing it with what did happen. So we did find a new home. We did take an international trip. We hosted a Halloween party. So there's several things in here that I did really nail. And there's other things that I didn't really have the time that I expected to focus on. But that's okay because those goals are still there. I have them nicely listed out and broken down a little bit so I can attack them later. But I'm going to definitely take a look at this whenever I'm coming up with my new master plan for this year. All right, just a blank page, and that's the end of my New Year setup. I'm just getting into normal planning now. Looks like this is just my March habit tracker all by itself with another habit tracker. I'm not really sure what I was doing here, but clearly I wasn't really having a full setup here. Okay, so now we're getting into my February setup. So as you can see, January was a little scattered and perhaps not fully formed. Yeah, sometimes it just be like that. Sometimes you just don't really have it in you to put it together and make something look nice. It looks like I did manage to do that in February, and it looks really, really good. I love this color combination. You will see me use this color combination constantly. This is so cool. I like this one so much. All right, and my habit tracker and my memories. Clearly, I fell off the wagon this month, somewhere around the 22nd. Wonder what happened. What did I do in February? Looking back on that, I'm really curious why I just kind of stopped. It happens every once in a while, and I don't know why. I couldn't tell you what made me just not follow through and finish up this month, but hey, it happens. So right here I wrote, okay, so let's just call this spread a practice week. I have been doing this for a bajillion years now, and this still happens to me all the time where I just miss a line or I run out of room, and it happens to everybody. So don't ever feel bad if you find that you do something silly like this when you're setting up a spread. Clearly I had a couple spreads here with very little effort made to making it look nice, just kind of whipped it together. Here's a fun one. This was in March, and it was right before I was getting ready to go on a cruise to Mexico, which I've never been on a cruise and never been to Mexico before this. So this was a really fun one. I was really excited because I was sick of winter and spring was not coming fast enough. So I just put together a fun little packing list to make sure I didn't forget any of my essentials like swimsuits or sunglasses. And that was a really fun cruise. Alright, so we just straight up skipped April, and we are now in May. I love drawing these flowers, but gosh, it takes a lot of time. So apparently in May, I also did the exact same thing that I did in February, even down to the day of stopping right on the 21st, 22nd. So there must be something in the second half of a month that just completely knocks me on my ass every month, because this seems to be a theme of mine. All right, so this is about the time that I kind of just stopped using my bullet journal for like a long time. I was just really struggling to use it every day. It wasn't exciting me. It wasn't challenging me. It wasn't helping me, really, at least not with my daily planning. I had been struggling with it throughout the entire year, as I'm sure you can tell by the missing months and missing weeks and just general lack of energy in this. And yeah, it's just, I want to tell you that this year was kind of hard for me for planning and using my bullet journal. I just wasn't into it. And it really shows here, and it's going to begin showing it even more in a minute when I keep flipping through. I ended up switching to an Erin Condren planner and using that for my daily planning and my monthly planning and all of that sort of daily to-do list stuff, because I just did not have it in me to keep setting up page after page. I still use this for kind of a collections journal. I have a lot of random lists and notes and stuff in here. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. This just became really hard for me, and instead of trying to push myself and bludgeon myself to use my bullet journal as I always had, I decided to take a step back and try something different and try to reevaluate and see what wasn't working so I could fix it. So part of that, beginning to kind of like try to diagnose this problem in me, was that I kept doing a lot of lists like this, like brain dumps. And so then there's this page, and this page is still when I was trying to use my bullet journal as a daily planner, but I was struggling so much with it. And that's evidenced by the fact that this page starts, it says 4/8, but for like an entire month, I miswrote the month. It's supposed to be 6/8, June 8th. So Monday, June 8th, and ends all the way in mid-August, August 14th. I went for 2 months on one page, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just can't help but laugh about it, because this just was the slowest spread I think I've ever done in my entire life. So that's what I did. That's what I just rolled with. I had just these simple little to-do lists for 2.5 months or so. Here I am doing just a kind of general brainstorming thing over here. I'm trying to do more of these dailies. It looks like that's just where I stopped. It looks like I completely stopped using my bullet journal as a daily planner at the end of August. All right, so this is a page that I filled in when I was doing a Skillshare class, and I'm gonna have to look up the name of that in a second, but it's a Skillshare class on creating your own 100-day challenge. We're in September now. We went camping, and I was the camp chef. So I came up with all of the meals we were gonna have and came up with the shopping list and all of that. And then of course there's just my general packing list to make sure we didn't leave anything important behind. So this is another extension of my 100-day challenge, because I was trying to brainstorm different things that I could draw or different themes that I could draw, because I was doing a drawing challenge. General brainstorming page. This is a free email course from Tila Cunningham on font making. So this is just a thing that she's given out for free, and I thought I'd poke around and do a little bit of learning. I went through a learning phase right around here because I also went to Skillshare and did Tila's class on creating watercolor design elements that you can have digitally, and I've had a lot of fun with that. That's actually the entire basis pretty much for my sticker shop, was doing watercolors, digitizing them, and then turning them into stickers. So this was a really fun class. Here's another Skillshare class I was taking notes on making mock-ups, which I use for my free printables and my stickers. In October, John and I went to the AdThrive conference, the AdThrive Summit in Austin, Texas, and this is our first conference together. It's my first conference in like 2 years. That was a really cool trip, and we met a lot of really interesting people. We learned a lot of cool stuff. This was just the schedule for what classes were going on and who we were meeting with and all of that. Right, so this is my page that I used to help me launch my sticker shop, just as a way to keep track of what I needed to get done before I could hit launch and let you wonderful people know about it. I'm brainstorming some potential New Year stickers, new products. In November, John and I went with our friends to Sydney, Australia, which we just got back from a couple weeks ago. It still feels like it just happened yesterday. And this was just pre-Australia checklist to make sure we got certain things done before we left, because we were leaving for 2 whole weeks. So we actually received this itinerary from our friend's uncle who lives in Sydney. That's just what this page is just kind of trying to remind myself of what the heck we're doing every day. All right, and so this is the beginning of my captain's log, which my captain's log is just a thing I started doing last time we went on a big long trip, which was the West Coast trip. And it's just a thing I started doing because it's really easy to forget certain details or the order of things. You might think that you're going to remember all of these amazing things, but after only a couple of days, honestly, a lot of this stuff gets really fuzzy. So it's really great to jot down everything. It's basically a diary, honestly, just a little daily diary of what we did every day. But I'm not going to go through each and every one of these because there's really not a whole lot to it. It's just kind of a header and then some writing. That is it. We are now halfway through December. I haven't touched this since we got back from our trip. That's really all there is to my 2019 bullet journal. You know, it's sort of not my favorite year for my bullet journal. It's not my favorite bullet journal stuff to show you, but it is really important for you to see that it doesn't always work all the time, and it's okay that things change, that you change, and that you might need to try something different, that you might need to stop altogether for a little while. If it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't make you productive, and it doesn't make you feel good, then it's okay to just take a step back. You don't need to keep forcing it. Just because it worked in the past doesn't mean it's always going to work, and it's okay to just take a breath. You know, I'm going to reevaluate and try to figure out how I can move forward with a more effective and fun planner. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me reminisce as I flip through my 2019 bullet journal. I really hope you enjoyed it and you got a little bit of insight on my daily planning process and maybe had a laugh at some of my silly mistakes or just my complete planning fail this year. If you don't mind, I would love it if you could share in the comments down below what is something that worked in your bullet journal this year, or maybe what is something that didn't work for you this year and you plan on changing. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm always looking for some new insight, especially right now. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and let me know, or subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Anyway, that's all from me. I'm going to go ahead and go start setting up my 2020 bullet journal. I'll see you then. Bye.